Hello, you're listening to The Content Bite again with Rachel and Lynn. I'm Rachel Smith. I'm from Rachel's List. I'm also a journalist, copywriter and content creator. Hello, Lynn. Nice to see you on the Zoom as usual.
Nice to see you too, Rachel. I'm Lynn Testoni and I'm a journalist and a content creator. And today we're talking about what you need to do when you start as a freelancer.
Because there are a lot of people out there with the job cuts this week and actually the job cuts in the past year who are probably contemplating either freelancing as a stopgap while they search for another job or as a whole new career move. And I suppose it's the obvious choice, isn't it?
It is the obvious choice. And I certainly, one of the ideas came from this is because I've had so many people contact me who've been made redundant or leaving their full-time in-house jobs, and they're asking me, what's freelancing like? What should they do? And we thought, and I know Rachel gets asked these things a lot as well, so we thought we'd put a lot of these things into one podcast and help as many people as we can, Rachel.
Yeah, just share some tips on the right way to get started because Lord knows you can make a hell of a lot of mistakes at the start.
Exactly. I think both of us have made a lot of mistakes at the beginning and we've learned, and now we're saving people the stress.
We live and learn.
Absolutely.
So we're going to dive into our little checklist. And the first one is really boring but necessary. It is do the admin stuff first.
Yeah.
And the first one, of course, is get an ABN. It's really easy to get one. You just do it online. We'll put the link in the show notes, but you'll need to put that on your invoices.
Yeah.
The other thing is setting up your socials. So if you already have social media, make sure they're really professional. Make sure your bio is really clear about what you do. I'm a journalist. I'm a content creator. I'm a copywriter. Make it clear because especially on LinkedIn, you're going to be searched in that way. People search for those keywords and that's how you'll get found. I would also consider getting a domain name, which you can use for your website. So mine is rachelsmith.com.au, but you could choose a business name. But whatever you do, buy the domain name through GoDaddy and not Melbourne IT. I've been burnt. It costs hundreds of dollars through Melbourne IT and it costs about $30 through GoDaddy. So that's a little insider tip for you. What else, Lynn?
Well, I think after you've done that, it's good there's a couple of little admin-y things that are a bit awkward. One is that some people often ask for insurance, particularly if you're doing some corporate work or government work. I didn't have it for the first few months, but then I got a big job and I needed insurance. So we've looked around. We both use Freelance Pro, which is the insurance available through the MEAA. And we've both found that about the most cost effective. I think we both did a search separately, didn't we? And that was the cheapest.
Yep.
Most effective. Yeah.
I also think this is the point when you're doing all your admin is to set your finances up. So you could use an online accounting system like Lynn or I. I use Rounded. What do you use, Lynn?
I use QuickBooks. Yeah.
QuickBooks, yeah. But if you can't afford to get a subscription to those online things, which can be $15 a month or a couple of hundred a year, just use a basic Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc just to, kind of get your incomings and outgoings in the one place. And it can be really motivating to see what's happening and to keep track of everything.
Keeping an eye on your financials is really important. And one of the things about freelancing compared to being in-house is that you're running your own business. And so you need to keep good records. And there's nothing worse than realizing you've not invoiced for something or you've forgotten to follow up. And that's why I like the cloud-based thing. QuickBooks tells me when invoices are overdue. It's really easy to set up and it makes my life a lot easier. Yeah.
I just want to say that I never forget to invoice for anything.
I did early and then and I also know as an editor it's surprising how many journalists forget to invoice.
Wow.
I know. I've been an editor a couple of times and I get invoices 6 or 7 months later and I think, oh my goodness.
I get such a thrill invoicing. I love that feeling of filing a story and then I go straight to Rounded and I bang out my invoice and I'm like, it's such a thrill. It's like
it is
a big adrenaline rush. So anyway, get that
Yes.
sorted so you can
Get
look at how many invoices you're sending and watch
And
all your
it's
money coming in.
professional because it's really important to look professional because you get better quality clients and a lot more people treat you more with respect. So if you're just doing everything all a little bit dodgy, it just doesn't set you up right. Yeah.
And on that note, you want to charge GST from the start, even if you're not earning the 75 grand that you're meant to be earning before you charge GST. You can still charge it, and it makes you look more professional.
I think so too. And also helps you can also offset the GST from any business related expenses you might incur right at the beginning, like, equipment and things. So that I think that's quite good.
Okay.
And next one, Rach?
Next one is get a website. We did mention get the domain name, reserve your domain name so that you can put that onto your website. But we have a whole blog post about different ways to get an online presence. So we're going to put that in the show notes. You could use anything from Wix to Squarespace to WordPress to Authory to clippings.me. There are so many platforms out there that can be really quick to set up, and at least you have that online presence where people can find you.
I think that's important. A website makes you look legitimate, and I think that's really important. Plus, if you're using social media and getting clients, you want to get them back to point them back to some sort of online presence, and I think it's important. It's standard. Yeah.
Absolutely. And put all your work on there, like your best work, any testimonials that you can get from editors who've worked with you, make it really easy to contact you, and have a services section where you list what you do. And it really
I
doesn't
think
have
so.
to be, complex or anything, but just
No.
make it look as slick
I
as
think when I started, I just had like 2 or 3 tabs, just a little bit about me, some of my work, and how to contact me. Now I've got a lot more, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I've been able to add to it, and that's why I like using Wix. Squarespace is the same, and Rachel uses WordPress for a lot of her work. It's really good to have something that you can edit yourself and you can upload and keep up to
updating.
date. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, definitely, because then you're not paying a developer to do it for you. Trust me, I've been burnt in that regard as well.
Yes.
Um,
Again, see, we're sharing
These
our
are all the
mistakes
cautionary
to other
tales that
people.
we're sharing with you. I should add up all the money that I've spent throughout
Yes.
my
But
freelance.
also, technology has changed a lot since both of us started. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't buy sort of off the shelf sort of websites back, even 5 or 10 years ago. But now there's so many tools out there.
That's right. Okay, so our next point is contact everyone. And
Absolutely
we do mean
everyone.
everyone you know. Yes, former editors, family members, friends of friends, neighbours.
I mentioned it to people in the dog park. Yep.
You have gotten work out of that dog park.
I
That dog
so
park
have.
is that is a target-rich environment.
It is. So yeah, letting people know that you're available. I think, particularly in the beginning, a lot of my first few jobs came from people I knew or former colleagues a lot of our former colleagues are now working in content marketing or government jobs or comms sort of roles as well. So if you're interested in that sort of career or going into that area, that's a good way to do it. Or other editors, there are editors still commissioning. So if you're made redundant or one title closes, speak to your editor and ask if there's any way they can continue to give you extra work, or maybe if they know of some editors in that stable or colleagues of them that might have a freelancing budget. That's important.
Absolutely. I think that is the single most important thing to do. And it might not be the first thing on your mind if you've just lost your job or you're being made redundant or something, but absolutely sit down with your editor, especially if you have a good working relationship, and just say, hey, is there anything that you'll be able to give me after I leave? Can you factor me in, if you have a freelance budget going forward? And I honestly think that is what can set you up as a freelancer. If you get a couple of those little gigs and a bit of that income coming in, and you can just build on it. So
Definitely
have that conversation before you leave.
Well, my first couple of jobs, one was came from somebody, one of my friends, a colleague who got a contact for some work from somebody in her triathlon club. And
Yeah, right.
and she knew that I was starting to freelance and she recommended me. And that's still one of my biggest clients. So
Mm.
that's fantastic.
Mm.
Um, and what next, Rach? What's the next
I
thing on our
think
list?
I think the next one is, as a freelancer, obviously we all know it can be hugely isolating. So I think it's really good to find your tribe if you don't already have one and you don't already know a lot of people freelancing, but you probably will. But if you
Mm.
don't, I would join all the relevant Facebook freelancing groups. Definitely Rachel's List Gold Group, if you're a member, Freelance Jungle, George's Media Circle, the Freelance Content Marketing Writer is a fantastic group if you do a lot of content. Find a Finder's Fee is just full of jobs, a lot of Sydney or Melbourne based, but a lot of remote work on there as well. Also, Young Australian Writers is for anyone under 40 and has a heap of resources, and often jobs and call outs for pictures come through there as well. And if you run socials for a magazine or you're a social media manager for a brand, Australian Community Managers on Facebook is also essential.
So those
Um,
groups are sometimes they have jobs, but often it's more about finding a tribe and supporting each other. If you're having a difficult situation, you've got a difficult client, or you're unsure of what to charge or how to approach something, it's a
yep.
really nice way of getting informal, supportive help. Yeah.
I know, absolutely. I think some of the most useful posts in these groups are when, particularly in the gold group or in
Yeah.
the content marketing group that I know we're both in, someone might come in and say, look, I've got a client who wants this, this, and this, and I just need some help putting the quote together. And it's just so insightful, isn't it? Seeing what people will charge. Like there was one about how to do a LinkedIn bio for someone, and how to charge for that. And people came back and they said, well, I would be charging for the 2 hours that you're talking to the person and then putting their thing together. And it
Yeah.
ended up, I think some did it as a flat fee and it was like $800. And I thought, wow, I just wouldn't have put it together that way myself. So you really learn so much about how to quote and what you should be charging for different things. It just can be so
Great
insightful.
scripts. You have a client with a difficult problem or scope creep, and often people will suggest really clever ways to approach that. And also sometimes when you are alone, when you're freelancing in your tracky dacks, in in your in your lounge room, you're not. Sometimes you're worried it's just you that's saying
Yeah.
certain things, and people say, "No, that's not normal. This is what you should do. You're good at your job." You need that support, I
I
think.
think the Facebook groups that I'm in are the most massive lifeline for me, and they were never there in the beginning. Like I've been freelancing for nearly 20 years,
Mm,
20 years this year, and honestly, they are just a lifeline. Amazing.
yeah.
And also you can connect using those ways, you can connect with an offline tribe as well. So I know Freelance Jungle has lots of events where people can meet up and have a drink and meet other freelancers. We've had some masterclass events. Ours are online this year, but we did have some where you
I
could
do
meet in
love your
person,
annual Christmas party. It's
and we have
always
the annual
nice.
Christmas party. So you'll get wind of all that sort of thing, and then you kind of
Yeah,
expand your tribe, and that can only mean more referrals and more work for you. So definitely get onto those. Our next one
definitely.
is one that's close to your heart, Lynn, because I know you like a structure. It is
I
establish
do.
establish a plan for your day, which is really true. It may sound weird, but freelancing can feel like this free form sort of thing where you can't put your finger on anything and you can't actually get anything done unless you have that structure imposed on you. Do you reckon?
Yes, exactly, and I think that's something I learned because, like you, what I was burned for, I thinking, oh no, I can relax. I don't have to get up till 8. I can do this. I consider, and suddenly I realized I'd be like 11 o'clock, and I hadn't written anything. So I just sort of bit the bullet and thought, no, this is a real job. And then I get up at the same time, get up at 6:30. I go for my run or do my Pilates, pick up my coffee like I would have if I was walking to an office, except I come back and then I'm sitting at my computer at a decent time, and I'm so much more productive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think if you have some kind of structure, I'm definitely not as good as you. There's no way I'd be getting up at 6:30 every day. I just want to kill myself. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, but you do lots of late nights. I don't do the late nights, so it's what
Yeah, I'm a
works.
bit of a night owl. But yeah,
Mm.
I have a structure, but it involves more of dropping Charlie to school and then doing my workout and because I don't think anything happens in our industry until 10 a.m. That's what I
That's
tell
true.
myself.
There is that, yes.
But it is good to have that sort of thing to your day, like, and it really keeps you organized and productive. But it's something that you learn as you go along and you tweak it and you get better and you kind of
And you
get
work
better
a
at meeting.
routine that
Yeah.
suits you and your life.
But definitely have that in your mind at the start. Don't just think, oh, I'm going to get so much done today. You actually have to set times for yourself. You have to set timers. You have to say, right, you could even write it in your diary, have a structure. I used to do that where you'd say, like, from 2 to 4, I'm going to work on that feature for Inside Out. And from, 4 to 5, I'm going to be transcribing. And I would actually tick those things off and get those real essentials done. But I had to make them almost like meetings in my diary to make myself do them. So
Yeah,
it
I
is
do.
important.
I certainly have a diary checklist, a to-do list, and I'm not a big list person, but you definitely needs it. Otherwise, yeah, it
Yeah.
the day
Oh,
gets too freeform.
oh my God, we're so over time. So we're just going to finish with one last point, which is be realistic about how freelancing works. And
Yes.
this is because I think that there's this belief that pervades, everything out there, that freelancing is really easy. It's easy to make money, find
It's not a
clients.
real job.
Yeah, well, there's so many beliefs about freelancing,
Mm.
isn't there?
Yeah.
But I think that it can be difficult. You can still go through slow patches. The longer, if you've been in it 20 years like me, everybody can go through those peaks and troughs. And it can be really isolating. It can be really hard to get your head around all the things you have to do. You have to do your marketing. You've got to do your admin. You've got to make sure you're on top of your invoicing and not sending them 8 months after you filed the story. You have to, be on top of your social media. You've got to make sure your website is updated. You've got to be, your IT person. There's all those things that you never
I
had
think
to
the
do before.
hustle,
And
there
the
is a bit,
hustling, you've got to
the hustling
have
is
time
the
for lead
hardest thing.
generation and constantly prospecting for new work. Even though you might have a lot of work, you've always got to be reaching out and trying to keep
Yeah.
that wheel turning. I think that's really important. And I would say give yourself, right at the start, you might be sitting there freaking out thinking, oh my God, how do I get this money rolling?
Mm.
Give yourself 2 to 3 months, set a goal to get into the groove. Start to put all these things together that we've mentioned in the podcast episode. Give yourself a goal and get into the groove slowly. And hopefully you'll start to see results. Well, I think you
Yeah.
will.
I think so too. And I love freelancing. I love the freedom and I love working for myself. And I sort of got into it like many people accidentally. And I didn't realize how much I'd like it and how much I don't think I'd go back to a full-time job
I don't think anyone
anymore.
would have me.
It's those tracky dacks again, isn't it?
I just have too many pairs and I don't have any suits. But
Which is fair. But I mean, there's so many wonderful things about it, but it
yeah,
is not for everyone. And while you may do this with the current situation temporarily or permanently, it's great to have a go, but it isn't for everyone.
yeah.
So hopefully that's given you lots of ideas. We'd love you to leave us a review. It makes it easier for people to find us. You can follow us on Facebook at The Content Bite or on Instagram at The Content Bite. Or you can send us an email, Rachel.
I think you can. No one ever does, but we are on thecontentbite@gmail.com.
Yes.
People just come to us on Facebook.
They do. They do. Like the whole world.
Yeah.
So we'll have some show notes uploaded on Rachel's list at rachelslist.com. Is it .com or .com
It's
day?
rachelsList.com.au/blog.
So /blog. So there's a whole thing with all the show notes for all the episodes there for you as well.
Easy to download. And we'll put links to all the stuff we've mentioned in this episode. And
Fantastic.
we will see you next week.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rachel.
Okay. See you, Lynn. Bye.